This is Mark Sperling from T3Live.com.
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看今天的直击美股，我是主持人张舒，在纽约向您问好。周一美股收高，标准普尔500指数是创下了历史的一个新高，而且另外一方面，我们也看到今天市场是受到了日本选举的一个影响，并且市场在扩大上周五就业报告的一个利好因素。在日本的大选方面，由于这次的一个公投被当作是对于安倍经济学刺激政策的一次投票，因此市场预计未来的一段时间内，日本政府将会上日本的市场注入高达990亿美元的一个量化宽松政策。而在另外一方面，影响美股市场的因素在本周主要有两个，一个是联储官员的讲话，另外一个就是财报季的正式开始。关于联储官员的讲话，有意思是，包括像今天的一个堪萨斯的联储主席，他们认为美国的经济依然是非常的强劲的。但是在另外一方面，我们看到市场的一个利率基金期货显示，在未来的一段时间内，美国的投资人都不期待加息，因此这样一个有趣的差距会让我们更加的关注本周三美联储将发布的关于美国经济状况的一个褐皮书。另外一方面，本周是正式拉开了新一季的财报季，但是有很多的投资人认为，在这个财报季里面并不会有非常多利好的财报出现，这也是引发了市场的一些不确定性。好的，更多的消息让我们来看一下今天交易员的独家分析。Hi, Mark. U.S. market traded higher today, and the S&P 500 just hit the all-time high. And also today, the market cheered the Japan election, and also the market tries to extend the job report rally. So, what are we right now, and what's going to be the next?
Well, we did get above some key levels the other day, which was Friday. Above really the 2120, 2115 in that range. And now we're basically at all-time highs. So the key is we've gone a long way quick since the Brexit news. I'd like to see some digestion so we don't go too far too fast, because then we're vulnerable for us to come back in and actually not hold those breakout levels. So I'd like to see digestion at some point this week for this to actually have some legs to it, this rally.
Okay, and also the oscillator just shows the market is overbought right now. So is that a concern to you?
No, but again, this is why, one of my reasons why I'm thinking that we need to digest or do a little back and filling, because if we don't, it is going to be problematic. But at the same time, just because we're overbought doesn't necessarily mean you should just be blindly shorting some of these things, because that can get you in trouble also.
Okay, and I think what we've seen in the leadership today is what we want to see, which is a tech sector. So how do you think about this sector, and is there any specific stock you focus on?
Well, it's been a broad-based rally, which is actually nice to see, versus just the four horsemen that we always talk about over the last 2 or 3 years. So Amazon hit an all-time high today. It became, I think, the fifth or sixth most valuable company in the world. I do think it has run a little bit too far too fast, meaning a little bit of digestion, back and fill would be healthy. But overall, it might be just running into earnings. And obviously, Prime Day is tomorrow, so that's very interesting. Google, still down for the year. A few percent, I believe. So it could play catch up, but I think obviously earnings are going to be really the key indicator for whether this is going to happen, and any sort of indication. NVIDIA is something I've been involved with on the option side. This has been an unbelievable move, one of the top performers in the market this year. You could just see the move it's had since May. And supposedly it has a great chip. It has in all these products. But overall, it has a great move. I would be taking some off if you haven't been involved. But on pullbacks, I would look to be getting back involved, because it is a best in breed at this point.
Okay, and also the funny thing is the Fed Fund futures says the market doesn't expect a rate hike until like December 2018. So will that expectation help bolster the bank sector?
It should. No, it actually probably won't help the bank sector, because the banks like to have higher interest rates, ideally. That's how they make their money on. But overall, as I was talking about earlier, JP Morgan right now is the best in breed. Goldman Sachs is obviously close behind. Nothing compelling there to tell me that, say, it's a screaming buy right now. We would like to see it, catch a bid in order for the market to continue to stay up and rotation to happen, but it doesn't have to happen like that. I think lower end, you can obviously take always a stab at some of these banks, JP Morgan in particular. But at the top end, let it prove itself and let the pattern become a little tighter before I would really get involved.
Okay, and also today the U.S. oil traded below 45. So how do you think about oil? Do you think it will be a headwind in the near future?
Oil has definitely come a long way from where it bottomed the $26 range. So moving to 51, 52, I have the USO up. I could see it dipping to the $40 range and then try to find some support. I wouldn't be surprised. Wherever everybody says, the consensus says, it usually goes a little lower. So the consensus, I think, is at 42, 43. Most of the time we go a little lower than that, and that's where we find some support.
Okay, so what you mean basically is this kind of rally needs some more confirmation, right? Which is
it needs some more confirmation,
okay.
Yes. But I am feeling relatively confident that this should at least last for some period of time into earnings.
Okay, that's all we have for today.
Great. Have a good night.
感谢您的收看，我们明天再见。